Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out True Off My Chest. Story 1. 29F. Hate that I hate the girl my BF, 33M, cheated on me with. Throw away for privacy reasons. Don't get me wrong, I currently hate my BF too. For context, my BF and I have been together a total of 3 years, living together for 1,5 years. Basically we are a couple born during the pandemic, when both of us were going through some drastic changes in our lifestyle. This certainly played a role in us having some problems along the way, where we built our little comfortable space as a couple, but our individual lives became very poor in terms of social life, hobbies, etc., especially considering we both live in a big city neither of us come from. I'm also from a different country, originally. With that being said, a couple of months ago, he tells me that a girl he was friends with a long time ago was in town for 6 months because of work and she had contacted him to meet up for an aperitif and catch up. He clarifies that she wasn't so much as a friend, but more someone he'd had a flirty type of situation when they met 10 years ago. They had kissed a few times but it was always wrong timing between them. He had kept in touch, platonically, with her occasionally over the years, through text on their birthdays or Christmas. He had mentioned to me in the past whenever these texts happened, maybe twice a year, and I never thought much of it nor prodded about it. I trusted him. When he tells me she invited him to meet up, he's like, I'm not even sure I wanna go, but she's someone I care about and we shared a special moment in our lives all those years ago and I don't really have a good excuse not to meet with her. She's here for months so I'll have to do it at some point or another, you know. And I'm like, okay, have fun. Because I'm so not the type to be jealous or diffident. So he goes. This is where things start going to shit. He comes back home much later than he said he would, and I already have a bad feeling in my stomach. Next day I ask if he has something to tell me and he says no, he's sorry he came back too late but he lost track of time because they ended up meeting with some other friends by chance. But then he brings up this whole discourse about how last night he realized he's really missing some more stimulation outside of our life as a couple, because we haven't really been able to get our social lives since COVID. He's working a lot and is always stressed/tired and he realized how much he misses cultivating this social pillar. I was like, okay, we can figure this out. But then, that week I notice he's distant. Going outside for walks to call his friends. Exactly a week goes by, and then he tells me we need to talk. He proceeds to tell me that actually, that night him and this girl kissed. That it wasn't premeditated, that neither of them were looking for it, but it just happened. And that he felt something for her in that moment, because they always had a connection, but mostly it opened his eyes to something he didn't want to see because, and I quote, he loves me so much, which was that something isn't working in our relationship. Otherwise, he wouldn't be kissing this girl and feeling things for her. Initially, I'm numb. For a few days there I don't even know how to react. Next stage I'm crying every day for a week, which he never has to see BC he's at work a lot. But then the rage comes. And that's the stage I'm in right now and I have no idea how to deal with it because I'm generally a very chill person. I turned into the worst kind of insecure person. I started checking his phone and PC behind his back. Guess what? He deleted the chat he had with her. When I confronted him about it he says he did it out of panic. First of all, I don't believe for a second that they only just kissed. Seriously? You came back at 3 a.m. I don't know what to do with all this anger and hate. I hate him for letting things get this far. I had been trying to talk to him about our relationship having some problems for a while, but he always brushed me off. This man made me feel crazy because whenever I'd bring up the matter he would be all but we're great. There's nothing wrong in our relationship. We're building something special. Why would we need couples therapy? Now, the hate I have for this girl. I feel like such a cliché. The woman that gets cheated on who takes it out on the other woman? Fuck this. I hate it. It's stupid but I fucking hate her so much. I fantasize about horrible things happening to her at all hours of the day, things I will not type here because I don't think they would be allowed on Reddit LMAO. He says he wants to work things out with me because, no matter what he felt for her at that moment, he still loves me and he really wants to make things work. That what we have means so much more. He wanted to come clean because he's done this type of stuff in the past in other relationships and kept it hidden and watched it slowly poison the relationship, and he says he wants to do better and be better. We're currently trying to work things out, but parallel to that I just have all this bubbling, boiling hot anger inside me all the time. Guess what I found out these past few weeks during our many talks about the episode and how to move forward? He had cheated on his ex-GF, the one he was with before me, with this same girl too. Again, he says they only kissed. Oh, and you know what else? When they met 10 years ago, she had a long-distance BF, and she cheated on this BF with my BF, who was single at the time. Again, it was just a kiss. He keeps telling me that this girl and him only want what's best for each other, that they always kept each other at a distance since him and I were together, but I couldn't stop myself from questioning him and I saying at some point, are you sure? This girl seems to be incapable of respecting anybody's relationships. Neither her own, nor yours. She systematically inserted herself in the middle of your relationships and you keep telling me that she wants what's best for you? Do these seem like the actions of someone who want what's best for you? Please, be rational. Obviously my words have a different weight, because I'm the hurt party. And I do hate her. I fucking hate her so fucking much. Also, I'm going back to my country for vacation and he'll be here alone for a while before he comes and joins me. Anybody wants to take bets that she'll text him after I leave? Because I know for a fact that he mentioned to her that I'd go on this trip before him that night when they met. He says he will obviously tell me if she texts him and keep me posted on everything. He seems to have been mostly honest to me up to this point. He could have kept the whole thing secret and the truth is, I would have probably never found out. But I just can't stop hating him and hating her and also hating myself. Ugh. I just have a lot of hate to go around right now and I have no idea what to do with it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Story 2. I think I messed up my boyfriend's chance to have a good relationship with my parents. I, 19F, have been dating my boyfriend, 19M, for over 2 years. I have kept our relationship a secret from my family for a year. I come from an Asian household and they tend to be strict around this whole dating idea. I am also the oldest daughter so I feel like that has a major part of everything as well. My mom has always told my siblings we were never allowed to date until college. I thought this wasn't a problem cause no one in my high school was my type nor was I interested in pursuing/committing to a relationship. This all changed when I met my boyfriend. I had a crush and wasn't expecting it to go anywhere. But I decided to just go with it and date him. I wasn't expecting the relationship to last more than a couple weeks, he was my first relationship after all. After a couple months, we realized our relationship was turning serious, and he asked to be introduced to my parents. I freaked out cause 1. I didn't listen to my mom 2. He wasn't the same ethnicity and my grandparents wouldn't be very happy 3. I was scared of what would come out of it. I told him it wasn't going to happen, he knew I wasn't allowed to date and I would rather wait till college because my parents can't do anything about it. He was like okay and didn't bother me about it until our 1 year. His parents knew about us and thought it was important for my parents to know about us. I caved and decided to tell my mom. And I did, it wasn't exactly the worst thing but it wasn't great. My mom was extremely unhappy with me, and wondered why I kept it hidden. I told her it was because I didn't want to tell her I'm dating someone if it wasn't going to last, not only that I wasn't sure how she was going to react. After a couple days of awkwardness, she questioned about him and just left it at that. I never really brought him up and she didn't either. At one point he brought me to a formal dance, and she didn't seem like she wanted much to do with him. She just said hi, took our pic and left. Every interaction they had, it wasn't great. My boyfriend had joined the military and asked for me to come to his graduation. I wasn't allowed to go, but he sent a letter, then ended up convincing my parents. In the letter it talked about how he knows my mom doesn't approve of him and how when he knew that once of the reason was because of his ethnicity, he decided to keep quiet. Otherwise he would have met my parents and talked to them about it. Later on after my trip, I found out my parents wanted to have dinner with him but never told me to my face yet. I'm just so nervous because of the terrible start I gave him. I've been feeling guilty for having to make him work twice as hard to have a decent relationship with my parents. I blame myself for being so anxious and scared, that maybe it would have been okay if I told my mom much earlier. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what my parents think of him anymore. I feel like whatever I've been telling my boyfriend has just been in my head. And whatever I'm telling him is just me being paranoid. And that it's not that my mom is disappointed about him, but me for keeping it hidden. I haven't really talked to my boyfriend about it. I sent him a little message about it but he has yet to reply since he is sleeping. I just wanted to vent and maybe hopefully someone has some advice on this. Story 3. I feel so lost. I feel like I'm drowning. I joined the military right out of high school and served for 5 years. In those 5 years I got 2 credit cards, got a car, got married and divorced, my father died, I went overseas, I got admitted twice for trying to end myself and I just got out last Monday. It was the end of my contract and honorable. As of today I have more debt than money I'll ever make in my life. My car was stolen and I have no way of getting it back. After getting out I needed to get across the country to where my friends have a room for me to move into and I got no assistance with moving at all. I paid everything on time up until last month when I was getting ready to get out and now after 2 months my credit score has tanked more than 200 points. I have no money, I have no DD 214, they didn't send me my last paycheck and I feel like I've been kicked down so hard I'll never get up. Sorry if this is kind of all over the place, I just needed to put this somewhere and I'm struggling. I feel like I'll never recover from this and nothing will ever get better. Story 4. My boyfriend doesn't snack and it's getting frustrating. My boyfriend grew up in a pretty food-restrictive environment, where snacking was highly discouraged. He also just isn't much of a cook, so when he is left to his own devices to feed himself, it's mostly stuff that can be popped into a pan/oven/microwave and heated. Since he's been working from home, he pretty much only eats a very small meal, usually soup or tater tots, on his lunch break and maybe drinks a few sodas while working. He's also picked up a second, seasonal, evening, job and has a roughly 15-minute window to get from one job to the other. As much as I've tried to convince him to bring a snack or bagged lunch with him, he just doesn't. This means that when he's finally off around 9, he's extremely impatient to eat. If we get drinks together after work, it's always in a hurry, because he doesn't want to go back out once we get home. If he's making his own food, usually frozen burritos, he's cranky until they're out of the oven. If I'm cooking, which I like to do, but don't like to be distracted while doing, he pops in intermittently to ask how long until dinner? And groans if it's going to be, say, half an hour. If I have plans to cook but I'm not going to be home before he is, he basically just makes himself a full burrito meal instead of a little snack to tide him over and isn't hungry anymore when I do get home. It's not all that important but it bugs me that he doesn't seem to understand the concept of a small snack/appetizer to keep himself from being hangry. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.